What if everything we know about our origins is incomplete? What if the key to understanding where we come from lies not on Earth, but in the stars? Imagine for a moment that the answer we've been seeking, the story of our true beginnings, is not just bound to our planet, but stretches far beyond, to the red dust of Mars. Mars, to many, it's a distant world, a barren landscape, frozen in time. Or what if it wasn't always this way? What if, long before Earth was teeming with life, Mars was home to an advanced civilization, a world full of knowledge, discovery, and wonder, similar to our own, perhaps even more advanced than we are today? Could Mars have been a cradle for intelligent life, only to fall silent before Earth even had the chance to rise? As you listen to this, wherever you are, whether you're nestled under a blanket, lying awake in the quiet hours of the night, or gazing up at the stars, ask yourself, what if the answers to our most profound questions about life, about the universe, are scattered across the cosmos, waiting to be discovered? Could the forgotten history of Mars be hidden in the same way ancient Earth civilizations left their footprints on our world? This documentary isn't just about science, it's about the mysteries we've only begun to unravel. We'll dive deep into the speculative possibilities of Mars, its ancient history, its secrets, and the questions that have lingered unanswered for centuries. We'll explore mainstream theories, juxtaposed with ideas that stretch the limits of our imagination. So, wherever you are, whether you're listening at home, at work, or under the blanket of a starlit sky, let your mind wander. What if everything we've learned is only part of a much larger story, one that stretches across the stars to Mars? And as you embark on this journey, consider this. What if the history we're about to explore isn't just a tale of the past, but a window into our future, a glimpse into the profound truths of the cosmos? If you're ready to discover the hidden possibilities of the Martian past and its connection to our present, keep listening and let's begin this cosmic adventure together. Now, let's turn our gaze toward Mars and begin our journey into Chapter 1. What if Mars, once a thriving green world, was not so different from Earth? What if, eons ago, the red planet was filled with rivers, lakes, and possibly even vast oceans? Imagine a world where liquid water flowed freely, an atmosphere thick enough to support life, and skies not so barren but alive with the possibility of life. The idea of Mars as a lifeless, barren wasteland is deeply ingrained in our minds. We see it as a dry, rust-colored rock, a place so desolate that it seems nearly impossible for anything to have ever lived there. But could this perception be wrong? Could Mars have once been a cradle for life, just like Earth? When scientists first turned their telescopes to Mars, they were puzzled by its reddish hue. The planet's surface looked smooth and uniform, but over time, strange features began to emerge. Vast canyons, what appeared to be ancient riverbeds, and the telltale signs of erosion. As we began to send spacecraft to explore Mars more closely, the true mystery started to unfold. In 1976, NASA's Viking missions made the first real attempt to study Mars in detail. What they found was unexpected, evidence of dried-up river channels, ancient volcanic activity, and mysterious surface features that appeared to be shaped by water. Mars, it seemed, had once been a much warmer place, with a thick atmosphere capable of holding liquid water, an essential ingredient for life. Fast forward to the present day, and the evidence is even more compelling. Mars rovers and orbiters have uncovered layers of rock that contain minerals typically formed in the presence of water. Scientists have discovered signs of ancient lakes, and even today, frozen water lies beneath the Martian surface, waiting to be uncovered. So what happened to Mars? How did it go from being a habitable world to the cold, dry planet we see today? The mainstream explanation, backed by most scientists, suggests that Mars's atmosphere was gradually stripped away by solar winds, making it unable to retain the water necessary to support life. Without a protective magnetic field, the planet lost its warmth, causing its surface to freeze over. Water turned to ice, and the once thriving Martian environment slowly began to disappear. Yet, this explanation only raises more questions. If Mars once had a thick atmosphere and flowing water, could it have supported life? More importantly, if life did exist, Could it have been an advanced civilization, one that has long since vanished? The idea of an ancient Martian civilization is, of course, speculative, but it's a possibility that cannot be ignored. Evidence of such a civilization, if it ever existed, would likely be buried beneath the layers of time. But what if we've already uncovered hints of this hidden history? What if the very features we see on Mars, the ancient riverbeds, the strange geometric patterns in the terrain, the pyramidal structures some claim to have seen, are clues to a civilization that once called the Red Planet home? Could it be that Mars's lost history is not just a tale of water and geology, but one of a forgotten civilization, a civilization that may have risen long before Earth even had the chance to develop its own advanced societies? As we continue to probe deeper into the mysteries of Mars, the tantalizing evidence of its ancient past begins to feel even more uncanny. Mars's surface is a canvas of mystery, filled with clues that seem to hint at something far more intricate than a simple geologic history. One of the most significant findings comes from the study of ancient river valleys and flood channels, which stretch across the Martian landscape like the faded traces of a forgotten civilization. Take, for example, the Valles Marineris, the largest canyon in the solar system. It stretches for over 2,500 miles and reaches depths of up to 7 miles. While it's often attributed to tectonic forces, could there be more to its formation? Some researchers speculate that it may have once been the site of a massive river or ocean, eroded away over eons. The scale of this canyon suggests that the planet was once home to water systems on a scale we can scarcely imagine. Could these water sources have nourished life, perhaps even a complex one? Even more compelling are the sedimentary layers discovered in many Martian craters. These layers, similar to those found on Earth, seem to suggest that Mars went through cycles of wet and dry conditions, possibly indicating the presence of seasonal rains, rivers, and lakes. In some areas, scientists have uncovered minerals like clay and silica, minerals that only form in the presence of water over long periods. If Mars had these features once, could life have taken root in these conditions? And there's the Gale crater, which the Curiosity rover explored in great detail. Here, scientists found evidence of ancient lakes, with rocks showing signs of having been shaped by water. The layers within the crater's surface contain what appear to be remnants of an environment that was once habitable, raising the question, could life have flourished in these lakes? The idea that Mars was once teeming with life might seem like science fiction, but the evidence is undeniable. What if microbial life had emerged on Mars millions of years ago in these ancient bodies of water? What if, over time, life on Mars evolved into something much more complex? Could the ancient Martian environment have supported not just primitive organisms, but perhaps advanced life forms, life that could have developed technology, culture, and civilization? Now, let's return to the question that lingers. If life did once exist on Mars, why did it disappear? One possibility lies in Mars's declining atmosphere. Once, Mars may have had a magnetic field strong enough to protect its atmosphere from the sun's solar wind, keeping its atmosphere thick and capable of supporting water in liquid form. But for reasons still not entirely understood, that magnetic field faded, leaving Mars exposed. As the planet's atmosphere thinned, temperatures dropped, and water slowly evaporated into space. Without a stable environment, life on Mars, whether microbial or more complex, would have struggled to survive. But what if this was only part of the story? What if the decline of Mars was not solely due to natural processes? What if, in its distant past, a civilization on Mars experienced its own downfall, a cataclysmic event that changed the planet forever? The idea of an advanced Martian civilization experiencing collapse is not as far-fetched as it might seem. Consider the theory of ancient cataclysms that has plagued Earth's own history. Many believe that Earth's civilizations, such as those in Atlantis or the ancient Sumerians, may have experienced rapid collapses due to catastrophic events, such as asteroid impacts or violent climate shifts. Could Mars have endured something similar? Could it have witnessed its own apocalypse, an event so powerful that it erased all traces of life, leaving only the barren world we see today? Perhaps Mars was the cradle of an ancient, flourishing civilization that was suddenly and violently destroyed? Could it have been destroyed by a natural disaster, or perhaps by forces within the society itself? What if the ruins on Mars are not just geological formations but remnants of something much older, a civilization whose technologies and achievements were lost to time? As we shift our focus to the broader implications of Mars's lost history, we begin to consider one of the most profound questions of all. Could there be physical evidence of ancient Martian civilizations still hidden beneath the planet's surface? This is where the speculative enters the realm of possibility. Could the faint signs of artificial structures buried deep under layers of dust and rock hold the key to unlocking Mars's past? The idea that advanced civilizations could have once lived on Mars before Earth even formed sounds like a distant fantasy. But as we continue to unearth strange features in Mars's landscape, it's impossible to completely rule out the existence of a lost world. Perhaps the most famous feature that fuels these speculations is the face on Mars, discovered in 1976 by NASA's Viking 1 orbiter. This formation, resembling a humanoid face, sits in the Cydonia region of Mars. While mainstream scientists have dismissed it as a natural rock formation shaped by the planet's wind and erosion, many remain unconvinced. To some, the resemblance to a human face seems too precise to be purely coincidental. Could this be an artifact from a Martian civilization long erased by time? The face stands as a silent, enigmatic monument, perhaps a relic left behind, a reminder of a society that once flourished. In addition to the face on Mars, there are other curious structures scattered across the Martian surface that could, in theory, point to an intelligent past. Geometric patterns, pyramidal shapes, and alignments that appear to follow celestial coordinates suggest that someone or something might have once lived on Mars, designing and constructing with intention. Could these shapes be mere geological formations, or do they point to something more? Could they be ruins of a lost Martian city, hidden by millennia of dust, debris, and cataclysmic events? NASA's recent missions have uncovered even more intriguing data, suggesting that Mars's surface may harbor something more than simple geological features. The Curiosity rover, which has been exploring the Gale crater, recently found layered deposits of rock that could have once been part of an ancient lakebed. But more than that, the rover also uncovered organic molecules that are the building blocks of life. These findings have sparked renewed discussions about the possibility that Mars may have hosted more than just microbial life. Could these organic molecules have been used by an ancient Martian civilization? Were they the foundation for more complex life forms, perhaps even intelligent beings? The notion of a lost Martian civilization is, of course, a theory that crosses the line into science fiction. But as we piece together the evidence, Mars's ancient riverbeds, the discovery of organic compounds, and the enigmatic structures on its surface, it becomes clear that there's much we don't yet understand about the planet. What if these remnants of life are not just the remains of microbial organisms, but the foundation for a much grander story? A story of a society that once thrived on Mars, leaving behind only faint traces of its existence, buried beneath the surface of a dying world. As we continue to explore the red planet, one thing is certain: Mars holds many secrets. Whether or not those secrets will ever be uncovered remains to be seen. But the idea that Mars may have been home to an ancient, advanced civilization before Earth even formed challenges everything we think we know about life in the cosmos. If life once existed on Mars, life that could have been as complex and sophisticated as ours, it forces us to reconsider humanity's place in the universe. Are we really the first intelligent beings to emerge in the cosmos? Or are we merely the latest in a long line of civilizations that have risen and fallen on distant worlds? As the search for answers continues, the question remains: could Mars's lost history reveal a hidden chapter of our own origins? Could the key to understanding life itself be buried beneath the surface of the red planet, waiting to be rediscovered? Only time, and perhaps future missions to Mars, will tell. When we think of ancient ruins, we often picture the great pyramids of Egypt, the lost cities of the Amazon, or the crumbling walls of Rome. But what if the greatest archaeological discovery of all time isn't hidden in a jungle or beneath the sands of Earth, but on the surface of Mars? For centuries, Mars has captivated our imaginations, often portrayed as a cold, desolate planet with no more to offer than the occasional dust storm or sweeping red horizon. But recent explorations of the Martian landscape have revealed anomalies that suggest the planet may have once been home to something far more significant than what we currently understand, a thriving ancient civilization. Could there be remnants of an intelligent society long forgotten by time, hidden beneath the planet's dusty surface? It all begins with a set of strange and enigmatic features that have puzzled astronomers, geologists, and even the public for decades. The most famous of these is the face on Mars, discovered in 1976 by NASA's Viking 1 orbiter. What appears to be a humanoid face carved into the Martian surface stands in stark contrast to the surrounding landscape. At first glance, it's striking, a face staring upward, partially obscured by shadows, its features sharp and unmistakable. For mainstream scientists, the face is a natural geological formation, a trick of light and shadow shaped by the forces of wind and erosion. But for others, the face appears too precise, too deliberate to be a mere accident of nature. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged suggesting that the face is more than just a random geological feature. Some believe it to be a remnant of an ancient Martian civilization, a monument built by an intelligent species who lived on Mars long before Earth had ever thought of civilization. Could this face be a marker, a symbol, or even a message from a society lost to time? The mystery of the face on Mars is just the beginning. Further investigation into the region known as Cydonia, where the face resides, has revealed a series of other strange formations, pyramidal structures, geometric shapes, and patterns that appear to be too symmetrical to be naturally occurring. The most famous of these is the so-called City of Cydonia, a complex array of structures that some claim resemble the layout of a city, complete with pyramid-like structures, towers, and even possible streets. NASA has consistently dismissed these theories, attributing the formations to natural geological processes. Yet, the more closely we look at these structures, the more we are forced to question whether we are dealing with the ravages of time or the remains of something far more deliberate. If these shapes are truly the result of natural forces, they would have to be incredibly rare coincidences. In contrast, if they are man-made or Martian-made, what do they tell us about the people or beings that once lived there? Could Mars have hosted a civilization that developed advanced architecture, science, and culture? Could these Martian structures represent a thriving society, a people whose creations are so well crafted that they have withstood the ravages of time and the hostile Martian environment? For years, skeptics have argued that the similarities between the Martian pyramids and those of Egypt are purely coincidental. But what if that's not the case? What if, like Egypt's pyramids, these structures were built by a highly advanced civilization? And what if these pyramids, buried deep beneath the Martian surface, are not just remnants of a forgotten people, but signs that Mars once held the kind of intelligence and ingenuity that led to the rise of Earth's own ancient civilizations? As we continue our exploration of Mars's potential ancient ruins, we begin to wonder, what if the structures scattered across the Martian surface are not just strange rock formations, but the remains of an intelligent civilization that once called the Red Planet home? One of the most intriguing anomalies on Mars lies in the pyramid-like structures scattered across the Cydonia region. These structures, often referred to as the Martian pyramids, bear a striking resemblance to the ancient pyramids of Egypt, not only in shape but also in their positioning within the Martian landscape. Could they have served a similar purpose, to mark important locations, or serve as tombs or temples for a long-lost society? In 1998, NASA's Mars Global Surveyor sent back high-resolution images of these formations. The images revealed structures that seemed far too symmetrical and geometric to be the result of natural geological processes. These formations have sparked countless debates. Mainstream science continues to claim they are simply the result of wind erosion and the planet's geological history. But could the sheer precision of these structures, especially their alignment to each other and their positioning on the Martian surface, suggest otherwise? Consider the possibility that these pyramids, like their earthly counterparts, were built to harness certain cosmic forces. The ancient Egyptians aligned their pyramids with the stars, using precise mathematical calculations to guide the construction of monumental structures. Could Mars's ancient civilization have done the same? If these pyramids were indeed built by an advanced civilization, what kind of knowledge did they possess? What technologies could they have used to construct such aligned and symmetrical structures on a planet with a much thinner atmosphere than Earth? Beyond the pyramids, there are other strange features on Mars that suggest the possibility of intelligent design. One particularly fascinating find is the geometric patterns spotted in various regions of Mars. These include strange rectangular shapes and elongated features, which appear to have been carefully constructed, perhaps as buildings or roads. Some theorists suggest these patterns may indicate the remains of a Martian city, with blocks or streets arranged in a manner that seems deliberate. Could these patterns represent a complex society that was once connected by roads, bridges, and pathways? Even more perplexing are the unusual craters and depressions found scattered across Mars's surface. While many of these can be explained by meteor impacts or volcanic activity, some of them appear to be too regular, too geometric in shape to be explained by natural forces alone. Could these features have been intentionally created, perhaps as part of a larger system or structure? Theories about Martian ruins have evolved over time, becoming more elaborate as more evidence emerges. Some researchers believe that these ruins could be remnants of a global network akin to the ancient civilizations of Earth, which constructed monumental structures for astronomical, religious, and cultural purposes. If this is true, what does it mean for our understanding of civilization's origins? Could the history of life on Mars be the key to understanding not only the red planet's past, but also the future of Earth? While mainstream scientists maintain that these features are the product of wind erosion, water flow, or other natural processes, the alternative theory suggests that Mars may have once been home to a people who left behind monumental structures, much like the civilizations of ancient Earth. What if these structures, these pyramids, geometric shapes, and craters, are remnants of a lost world, hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? If these structures do indeed represent an intelligent design, it would completely reshape our understanding of history. The implications would be staggering. We would no longer be able to consider Earth's ancient civilizations as the only advanced societies to have ever existed. Instead, we would have to accept the possibility that Mars, millions of years ago, may have been home to a thriving civilization, one that is now nothing more than dust and ruin, hidden beneath the sands of time. But what if there is more evidence to be found? What if, hidden beneath the Martian surface, lies a treasure trove of ancient relics and artifacts, pieces of technology, artwork, and even written records that could shed light on the lost history of Mars? Could this be the missing link in our search for answers about life in the universe, a connection between two worlds that once shared a similar fate? As we delve deeper into the speculative world of Martian ruins, the implications of what we might one day discover on Mars become ever more profound. If indeed Mars was once home to a thriving civilization, one that built pyramids, constructed geometric cities, and left behind relics of their existence, the questions that arise are staggering. What would we do if we found undeniable proof that another civilization existed millions of years ago? How would such a discovery change our understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos? Imagine for a moment that NASA or another space agency uncovers a buried Martian city, its streets lined with monuments and pyramids, its ruins still bearing the marks of long-lost technologies. The discovery would not only rewrite the history of Mars, but it would fundamentally alter our understanding of what civilization means. We would be forced to acknowledge that intelligence is not limited to Earth, that life, perhaps even advanced life, can evolve on planets beyond our own. In 2001, the Mars Odyssey spacecraft found evidence of a mysterious dark patch in the northern hemisphere of Mars, a region called Utopia Planitia. The region is known for its massive, ancient impact basins, but recent evidence suggests that something deeper might be hidden beneath the surface, Some researchers have speculated that this could be the site of an ancient underground city, buried for millions of years, but still detectable by modern spacecraft. Could this patch be an entrance to an ancient city, long lost, but still holding the secrets of its inhabitants? The implications of such a discovery would be enormous. It would not only suggest that Mars hosted an advanced civilization, but that this civilization at one time had the power and knowledge to create complex systems and structures. If remnants of such a city were found, they would raise far-reaching questions about the origins of life and intelligence in the universe. Could Mars's ancient civilization have shared knowledge with early Earth cultures? Or perhaps was their knowledge lost to the cosmos, just as their civilization was? One of the most striking features of these Martian ruins, if indeed they are ruins, is the possible connection to Earth's own ancient cultures. The geometric structures on Mars, reminiscent of pyramids and other megalithic structures found on Earth, suggest that the idea of monumental architecture may not be a product of Earth societies alone. The similarities between the ancient structures of Mars and Earth raise an unsettling question. Could there have been contact between Martian and Earth civilizations, or even shared knowledge of similar architectural and engineering feats? Consider the pyramids of Giza, the ancient structures in South America, and the strange megaliths of Europe. Many of these structures have long been the subject of mystery and speculation. Some believe that these civilizations were guided by extraterrestrial intelligence, perhaps receiving knowledge passed down from civilizations that once lived on Mars. Could the rise of pyramid-like structures on Earth be a cosmic echo, a distant memory of Mars's lost society, passing through the ether to influence humanity's own architecture? Alternatively, perhaps the civilizations of Mars and Earth developed independently, each creating similar structures and technologies due to the fundamental laws of physics and engineering that govern the universe. The idea that advanced civilizations might arise on different planets under similar conditions is a thought-provoking one. Could Mars's early life have led to technological and cultural advancements parallel to those of Earth, despite the two worlds being separated by vast distances of space? Yet, there is still no definitive proof, no smoking gun, confirming that Mars was once home to a sophisticated civilization. Despite the evidence presented by NASA and other space agencies, much of it remains circumstantial, open to interpretation. The face on Mars, the pyramids, the geometric patterns, they all point to something that seems out of place, but they could also be the result of natural processes, shaped over millennia by the forces of wind, water, and time. But in the world of speculative science, sometimes the most intriguing possibilities are the ones that defy conventional explanations. Could Mars's enigmatic features be evidence of something far greater than natural geological formations? Could they be markers of a lost Martian civilization, a civilization so advanced that its remnants have been preserved through the ages, buried beneath the surface of a dying world? The idea of discovering Martian ruins raises another profound question. If we did find the ruins of an ancient civilization, what would we do with that knowledge? How would it change the way we view ourselves and our place in the universe? Would we look to Mars as a distant ancestor, or would we see it as a warning, a reminder that no civilization, no matter how advanced, is immune to the passage of time? As we continue to explore the red planet, the possibility of uncovering Martian ruins remains tantalizing. Each new discovery, whether it be an ancient riverbed, a peculiar formation, or a strange geological anomaly, adds another layer to the mystery of Mars. And with each discovery, the question lingers: could Mars hold the key to understanding not just the history of our solar system, but the future of humanity itself? For centuries, Mars has captivated the human imagination, seen not just as a distant planet, but as a symbol of possibilities. Possibilities for life, for discovery, and for understanding our place in the cosmos. The idea of life beyond Earth is no longer just a topic of science fiction, but a serious field of scientific inquiry. Could Mars, the red planet, have once supported life? Could it have been home to a thriving ecosystem, one that perhaps mirrored Earth in its complexity and beauty? Mars, in many ways, is a world of contrasts. Its red, barren surface seems to offer little hope of life, yet beneath the dusty crust and in the vast frozen poles, clues hint at a much richer history, a history of water, atmosphere, and potentially life itself. The scientific community has long debated whether Mars could have supported life, with findings of ancient riverbeds, the discovery of seasonal methane spikes, and even signs of water deep beneath the surface offering tantalizing hints of a more habitable past. One of the key pieces of evidence comes from fossilized microbes discovered in the Martian meteorite ALH 8401, which fell to Earth in 1984. In 1996, scientists suggested that this meteorite contained signs of ancient life. Tiny, worm-like structures in the rock appeared similar to microbial life forms found on Earth. While this discovery was met with skepticism and further scrutiny, it nevertheless ignited the imagination of scientists and laypeople alike. Could this be proof that Mars once hosted life, even if only at a microscopic level? The evidence doesn't stop there. Ancient riverbeds, lake beds, and dry river valleys have been discovered across Mars's surface. These features suggest that liquid water once flowed freely across the planet, carving out valleys and creating lakes and ponds. Water, as we know, is essential for life. The discovery of these water channels implies that Mars once had a climate much more hospitable than the cold, dry world we see today. But what happened to the water? Where did it go? And why did Mars transition from a wet, potentially life-supporting world to the arid, frozen desert it is now? NASA's Curiosity rover, which has been exploring the surface of Mars since 2012, has found evidence of ancient lakes in the Gale crater, once a massive lake that could have supported life. The rover discovered sedimentary rock layers that suggest the presence of water over long periods of time. These findings point to a time when Mars was warm enough to allow liquid water to flow, creating an environment where microbial life could have taken hold. Another key area of focus is Mars's polar ice caps, which contain vast amounts of frozen water. While we now know that Mars is too cold and has too thin of an atmosphere to support liquid water on its surface, the polar ice caps, rich with water ice, are a reminder that Mars is not entirely devoid of life-sustaining resources. Water may still exist on Mars, locked beneath the surface, and the search for liquid water continues to be a primary focus of Martian exploration. Could this ice, this preserved water, hold secrets of an ancient Martian ecosystem that could one day be revived? Yet, while the evidence of water is compelling, it's the discovery of organic molecules that truly shakes the foundation of our understanding of life on Mars. Organic molecules are the building blocks of life, and their presence on Mars could suggest that the planet once had the conditions necessary for life to develop. In 2018, the Curiosity rover detected organic compounds in the Gale crater. While these compounds could have formed through non-biological processes, the mere presence of such molecules raises an important question. If life once existed on Mars, what kind of life might it have been? Could microbes have evolved into more complex organisms? Or perhaps, could Mars have supported complex ecosystems capable of sustaining life forms similar to those on Earth? As we continue to explore the possibility of life on Mars, the question arises, could Mars have hosted more than just microbial life? Could it have been home to complex ecosystems, much like Earth's early days? The evidence we've uncovered so far paints a picture of a planet that in its distant past could have supported conditions conducive to life, possibly even advanced life. Let's start by considering the climate of ancient Mars. The planet we see today is cold and dry, but billions of years ago, it was a very different place. Mars once had a thicker atmosphere, capable of trapping heat from the sun, creating a greenhouse effect that kept the planet warm enough to support liquid water. This would have been critical in sustaining life, as water is the essential ingredient for all known forms of life. Evidence from Mars's surface and ancient riverbeds suggests that there were once long-lasting bodies of water, which would have created a perfect environment for microbial life to thrive. One compelling theory suggests that Mars's early atmosphere was much thicker than it is today, so thick in fact that it could have supported a hydrological cycle, much like Earth's. If this theory holds true, Mars would have had a climate more similar to Earth's, with flowing rivers, lakes, and even oceans. Mars may have experienced rainstorms, cloud cover, and seasonal changes, all contributing to the cycle of water and life on the planet. This raises the tantalizing possibility that Mars was home to ecosystems, possibly evolving into more complex forms of life over time. However, the thick atmosphere that may have once helped sustain life could not have lasted. Over time, Mars's magnetic field weakened, and the planet became vulnerable to solar winds, which gradually stripped away much of its atmosphere. With the loss of this protective shield, the planet's surface cooled, and the water began to evaporate into space. The planet's environment became hostile, and the oceans, lakes, and rivers dried up. The climate shifted, and Mars entered a new, colder phase, one where life could no longer survive on the surface. But what if life on Mars didn't die out entirely? Could it have persisted in pockets hidden beneath the surface where the harsh environmental conditions above might not reach? This idea brings us to one of the most fascinating aspects of Mars's potential for life: the existence of subsurface water. Evidence suggests that beneath the surface of Mars, there may still be liquid water trapped in underground aquifers, perhaps in regions where the pressure and temperature are more favorable. If microbial life ever existed on Mars, it's possible that some of it may have found refuge in these subterranean environments, continuing to exist in isolation for billions of years. In fact, recent findings have sparked even more intrigue. The discovery of a subsurface lake beneath Mars's southern polar ice cap, announced in 2018 by researchers using radar data from the Mars Express orbiter, offers the first evidence of liquid water deep beneath the surface of Mars. This discovery is particularly significant because it suggests that water could exist in a liquid state, even today, in the right conditions. The presence of liquid water beneath Mars's surface opens up the possibility that microbial life could still exist, hidden in the shadows of the planet's frozen exterior, shielded from the harsh radiation and extreme temperatures above. But if Mars once hosted complex ecosystems, what happened to them? Did life evolve into more sophisticated organisms before the planet's environmental collapse? Or did it remain simple, microbial life forms throughout its existence? Could Mars have harbored something akin to the first life forms on Earth, possibly even evolving along parallel lines with Earth's own evolution? These questions remain unanswered, but the discovery of organic molecules on Mars continues to fuel the speculation. Organic molecules, the basic building blocks of life, have been found on Mars in a variety of locations, most notably in the Gale crater, where Curiosity rover has been conducting its studies. These molecules suggest that Mars could have had the chemical ingredients necessary for life. While the presence of these molecules does not directly confirm the existence of life, they do indicate that Mars was once a place where life could have originated. Some researchers believe that the presence of these molecules could point to ancient biological processes, possibly linked to microbial life that once existed on the planet. If life did exist, it may have been microbial like the earliest forms of life on Earth, or, as some theories propose, it could have evolved into something far more advanced, potentially developing its own complex ecosystems before Mars's climate collapsed. As we contemplate the idea of life on Mars, particularly the possibility that Mars may have once hosted advanced life forms, we must consider the broader implications. If life did exist on Mars, whether in microbial form or something more complex, it forces us to reevaluate our assumptions about life beyond Earth and to ask the critical question: what happened to Mars? The environmental collapse of Mars, marked by the loss of its atmosphere and the eventual cooling of the planet, is often seen as the end of its potential to host life. But what if this transformation was not a complete loss for Mars? What if life, in some form, still exists beneath its surface? The idea of life persisting underground on Mars, protected from the harsh radiation and cold of the surface, is an intriguing one. Some scientists even propose that the evidence of subsurface water, particularly the discovery of liquid water beneath the southern ice cap, could mean that microbial life, though altered by billions of years of isolation, could still survive in these hidden, underground aquifers. Could Martian life be holding on in the deep, dark recesses of the planet, waiting for us to discover it? There are further speculative ideas to consider. Could Mars have once had life forms that evolved in a radically different manner from those on Earth? What if life on Mars was not just microbial, but evolved into more complex, possibly even intelligent organisms? The idea that Mars could have once been home to an advanced civilization is, of course, speculative, but it's a theory that continues to persist among certain groups of researchers. If this advanced life did exist, what could have become of them? Did they evolve technologies and cultures that might have shaped their environment in ways we cannot yet comprehend? Or did they fall victim to the same cataclysmic events that wiped out the water on the surface? The concept of an ancient Martian civilization goes beyond the discovery of microbial life. Could we one day uncover evidence that an advanced species once walked the surface of Mars, leaving behind relics and ruins that tell the story of their rise and fall? While mainstream scientists argue that such ideas are purely speculative, the possibilities that Mars once harbored not just microbial life, but perhaps an intelligent society, are hard to dismiss entirely. Imagine the discovery of artifacts buried beneath the planet's surface, art, tools, or even writings that could provide a window into the culture of an ancient Martian civilization. What would that mean for our understanding of life, intelligence, and civilization in the universe? Even without evidence of advanced civilizations, the ongoing search for life on Mars continues to inspire new questions. What if Mars is not an isolated example of life in the universe? Could its past host more than one type of life form, evolving in parallel with Earth's earliest creatures? If life on Mars existed alongside Earth's evolution, would it have led to similar scientific, artistic, or cultural developments? Or was it so different that it would challenge everything we know about biology and intelligence? For now, the search for life on Mars is ongoing, with every rover mission and satellite survey offering new clues. The discovery of methane spikes in the Martian atmosphere, for example, raises intriguing questions. Methane is a molecule that, on Earth, is largely produced by biological processes, while methane can also be formed through geological processes. The presence of this gas in Mars's atmosphere suggests that something, perhaps microbial life, could be responsible. Could these methane spikes be the remnants of ancient Martian life? Or is it possible that life still exists on Mars today, in some form we do not yet fully understand? The possibility of life on Mars challenges us to think beyond the Earth-centric models of life's origins. Could Mars have given rise to life forms that evolved independently, offering a glimpse into the diversity of life in the universe? And if we do eventually find definitive proof of life on Mars, what does that mean for our understanding of life on other planets? Perhaps the most profound question of all is, what will we do with the knowledge that we are not alone in the universe? If Mars, a neighboring planet, once harbored life, how does that change our perspective on Earth's place in the cosmos? Does it make us rethink our own origins? What can we learn from the rise and fall of Martian life about the fragility of our own planet, our own existence, and the potential futures of all life in the universe? The search for life on Mars is not just about answering a scientific question. It's about uncovering the past and understanding the potential future of life beyond our own world. Whether microbial or complex, the possibility of Martian life forces us to look up at the night sky and ask, what if we are not alone? Imagine a time long before Earth's first civilizations rose from the dust, when Mars was a thriving, lush world, an oasis in the vast expanse of the universe. What if Mars was not always the barren desert we know today, but a place of great beauty and complexity? What if the Martian surface was once teeming with life, not just microbial organisms, but perhaps intelligent beings with technologies that far surpassed anything humanity has yet achieved? As scientists continue to explore Mars, many are beginning to speculate about the potential for advanced life forms that may have once existed on the red planet. Mars, with its ancient riverbeds, polar ice caps, and complex geological history, may have been a cradle for life in the distant past. But what if this life was not just simple microorganisms, but a fully developed society capable of creating technologies and building civilization? Could Mars have once been home to an advanced Martian society, one whose knowledge and wisdom were far beyond our own? Theories about the evolution of life on Mars are largely speculative. Given the current understanding of the planet, it seems unlikely that Mars could have supported complex life for long periods. But what if the early Martian environment was more hospitable than we realize? What if, in its primordial years, Mars had a thick atmosphere, a magnetic field, and abundant water, allowing for the development of life, not unlike Earth's? In this alternate vision of Mars's past, we can imagine a world where life evolved much in the same way it did on Earth, albeit in its own unique form. What would a Martian society look like? Could it have been as diverse and sophisticated as the ancient civilizations of Earth? Could the Martians have developed agriculture, science, art, and even advanced technologies? If Mars once had a thriving society, what might they have achieved? And why did they vanish? If life on Mars had evolved in a way similar to Earth's early history, it's possible that the Martians developed technology and culture over millennia. Perhaps, like humanity, they began with simple tools, stones and fire, eventually progressing to more complex machinery. Could they have developed advanced technologies like electricity, metallurgy, or even space travel? At the heart of this speculative theory is the question of technology. Earth's civilizations have repeatedly demonstrated the ability to adapt and create new technologies, advancing from the rudimentary tools of early man to the sophisticated machines of today. Should the Martians have done the same, what kind of technologies would an ancient Martian society have developed to cope with their environment? Would they have invented devices that we, as humans, have only begun to dream of? The possibility of Martian technology goes beyond the traditional ideas of tools and machinery. What if the Martians developed technologies that were in harmony with their environment? Could they have learned to manipulate natural forces, controlling the weather, harnessing energy from their planet's core, or even finding ways to extend their lifespans or travel across the stars? Some speculate that advanced Martian societies could have built vast solar collectors, capturing energy from their sun to power their civilization. Others propose that the Martians could have invented terraforming technologies capable of altering the climate to make their planet more hospitable, much like the fantasies we have of terraforming planets for human colonization. If Mars' society was as advanced as some believe, could the Martians have had their own form of art and culture? Earth's early societies expressed themselves through cave paintings, sculptures, and music. Could the Martians have created similar works of art, perhaps using materials and technologies that no longer exist on the planet? What if, like us, they had great philosophers, artists, and thinkers whose ideas shaped the direction of their society? Could their concepts of beauty, philosophy, and science have been similar to ours? Or would they have been so different that we could scarcely comprehend them? As we imagine advanced Martian society, it's essential to consider the unique conditions that may have shaped their development. If Mars had once supported a thriving civilization, it would have been crucial for them to adapt to their environment, just as humans have done on Earth. However, Mars's conditions would have posed their own set of challenges. Despite having a warm, habitable climate early in its ithis, the planet eventually succumbed to dramatic changes. The loss of the Martian atmosphere, its dwindling water supply, and the intense radiation from the sun would have made survival increasingly difficult. If Mars's advanced society existed before these dramatic environmental shifts, they would have had to devise ways to cope with their planet's challenges. Perhaps they developed sophisticated architecture capable of withstanding the harsh elements, constructing vast underground cities shielded from the planet's thinning atmosphere and damaging radiation. Mars's weakened magnetic field and the loss of its atmosphere may have forced the Martians to seek shelter underground, developing a subterranean civilization that was hidden from the planet's surface. What might an underground Martian society look like? Could they have created intricate tunnels and caverns, perhaps even entire cities beneath the surface, using materials sourced from the planet's resources? This concept of subsurface cities is not as far-fetched as it may seem. On Earth, we already see similar practices in extreme environments. Humans have built underground structures in places with harsh climates, such as the underground cities in Turkey or the extensive mining tunnels in Africa. If Mars once had abundant resources, it's not difficult to imagine a society that built vast underground networks to survive in a changing world. These hidden civilizations could have created their own ecosystems, using hydroponics or other advanced agricultural techniques to grow food beneath the surface, shielded from the planet's harsh conditions. While the idea of subterranean life on Mars may sound speculative, it raises a crucial point. An advanced Martian society would have had to innovate in the face of extreme conditions. Could they have found a way to harness the resources available to them, using the planet's ice caps, volcanic activity, and perhaps even its abundant mineral wealth to build the technologies necessary to survive in the face of environmental collapse? But survival wouldn't have been the only challenge facing Martians. As their planet's atmosphere thinned and the water evaporated, Mars's society would have been forced to confront deeper questions about their existence. Could they have developed philosophical or scientific theories about their planet's demise, perhaps coming to terms with the possibility that their time was running out? Could they have created vast libraries, storing knowledge and wisdom for future generations in case their civilization eventually fell? Just as Earth's ancient civilizations created monumental records in the form of tablets, scrolls, and monuments, the Martians could have left behind their own records, preserved beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered by future explorers. If the Martians had developed such advanced knowledge, would it be lost to time, or could it survive in the remnants of their civilization? Perhaps they encoded their understanding of the universe in a way that we might still decipher in the future. If they possessed technologies capable of surviving the Martian apocalypse, they could have left us hints in the form of artifacts, symbols, or mathematical principles, hidden clues that future explorers could one day uncover. Another crucial consideration is the social structure of an advanced Martian society. Could they have developed a system of governance, much like Earth's early civilizations? Would they have had leaders, councils, or even an early form of democracy? How would their society have structured its economy, its workforce, and its distribution of resources? Just as ancient Earth societies organized themselves into cities, states, and empires, the Martians might have done the same, establishing complex networks of trade, communication, and culture across their planet. What if Mars was home to multiple societies, perhaps different civilizations, each with its own cultural practices, technological advances, and philosophical outlooks? Mars's long history could have seen the rise and fall of many different civilizations, each building upon the knowledge of the last, creating a rich tapestry of innovation and achievement. These civilizations could have left behind their own cultural fingerprints, evident in the ruins and remnants that future explorers might one day uncover. As we continue to speculate about the potential for an advanced Martian society, it's impossible to ignore the role that technology would have played in their evolution. Could the Martians have developed technologies that were similar to or even more advanced than our own? If Mars once hosted an intelligent species, what kind of scientific and technological innovations might they have created to adapt to their environment and enhance their civilization? Let's begin by imagining what a Martian technology might look like. If their society evolved alongside a world teeming with water and a more robust atmosphere, it's conceivable that the Martians could have developed advanced agricultural systems, capable of cultivating crops in a controlled environment, underground perhaps, or within dome-like structures. Imagine towering greenhouses, where crops thrived in artificially created climates. Could the Martians have perfected techniques for hydroponics or aeroponics, allowing them to grow food without relying on traditional soil? These agricultural advancements would not only have been a means of survival, but also a cornerstone of their society's structure, supporting growing populations and ensuring a steady supply of resources. With a wealth of minerals and water available to them, the Martians might have also developed advanced methods of resource extraction, perhaps utilizing solar energy or tapping into the planet's geothermal heat, harnessing its natural resources in ways that would have allowed their civilization to flourish. As their world became more inhospitable, it's possible that the Martians turned to space exploration as a way to ensure the survival of their species. What if they created spacecraft capable of leaving Mars to explore other moons or even planets in the solar system? Imagine Martian vessels designed to withstand the harsh environments of spacecraft, capable of journeying to the asteroid belt, to Europa, or even beyond. Could they have sent out probes to explore the vast reaches of the universe, gathering knowledge and sending it back to their home planet? Yet, this vision of an advanced Martian society goes beyond just survival. If the Martians developed the technology to leave their planet, they might have also sought to terraform Mars itself, attempting to reverse the damage done to the atmosphere and surface over millennia. What if they were the original architects of Mars's transformation, scientists and engineers who tried to engineer a more hospitable environment before their world's eventual decline? Perhaps their knowledge of atmospheric science, geology, and climate control was so advanced that they believed they could restore their planet's former glory. But where would such technological advances have taken them? Could the Martians have developed technologies that were far more sophisticated than our own? Some speculative theories suggest that an ancient Martian society could have created technologies related to artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, or even quantum computing. Could they have reached a level of advancement where their knowledge surpassed even our wildest imaginations, creating machines capable of thinking, learning, and evolving on their own? Could they have mastered the manipulation of matter at the atomic level, creating materials that were stronger, lighter, and more efficient than anything we have today? At the heart of these speculative theories is the question, what might an ancient Martian society have known that we're only beginning to understand? Could they have developed insights into the fabric of reality itself, unlocking secrets of physics, energy, and the nature of the universe that Earth scientists are only beginning to scratch the surface of? Did they possess knowledge and wisdom that could provide answers to some of the most profound questions humanity faces today? Could we one day discover their theories encoded in their ancient artifacts or the remains of their civilization that could propel us to new heights of scientific understanding? Yet, despite all the fascinating possibilities, one critical question remains. What happened to them? If Mars once hosted an advanced civilization, why did they fall? Theories abound. Some suggest that the Martians experienced a cataclysmic event, perhaps a catastrophic asteroid impact, a supervolcanic eruption, or even a planetary-scale war that led to their downfall. Others propose that the Martians, like many civilizations throughout history, reached the height of their achievements only to collapse under the weight of their own success, their environment no longer able to support their rapidly expanding society. Perhaps the Martians, in their quest for progress, faced the same existential questions we faced today. How do you balance technological advancement with sustainability? How do you protect your planet from the very forces you've set in motion? Could the collapse of Martian civilization have been the result of a fatal flaw in their technological advancements, a mistake that led to the irreversible damage of their environment? Even in their fall, however, the legacy of their knowledge could have survived. The remnants of their buildings, tools, and technologies may still lie buried beneath the Martian surface, waiting to be uncovered. What if future explorers, searching for clues about Mars's past, stumble upon the remnants of a lost Martian city, an ancient civilization whose achievements rival our own and whose downfall offers valuable lessons for humanity's future? Mars, once a thriving, warm world with flowing rivers and an atmosphere thick enough to support life, has since become a cold, desolate desert. The question that has intrigued scientists for decades is simple. What went wrong? How did Mars transition from being a promising cradle for life to the barren planet we see today? Mainstream scientific theories suggest that the decline of Mars's environment was due to a series of gradual natural processes. Mars's magnetic field, which once shielded the planet's atmosphere from the solar winds, weakened over time, allowing the atmosphere to slowly dissipate into space. As the atmosphere thinned, the planet's surface cooled, and the once liquid water that may have flowed across the planet's surface evaporated. Without a stable atmosphere to retain heat, Mars became a frozen wasteland, and any potential for life, whether microbial or more complex, was wiped away. However, this mainstream view of Mars's decline does not tell the entire story. If Mars had such a thick atmosphere and warm climate, how could it have lost these crucial elements so quickly? Could there have been a cataclysmic event, a single catastrophic incident that contributed to the fall of Mars, accelerating its decline and wiping out any life that may have existed there? One theory that continues to captivate scientists and speculators alike is that Mars was struck by a massive asteroid or comet in its distant past. This event could have triggered a planetary scale catastrophe, significantly altering the planet's climate and atmosphere. The impact would have released an enormous amount of energy, sending debris and dust into the atmosphere, blocking out sunlight and dramatically cooling the planet. Such an event could have caused catastrophic climate shifts, turning Mars from a relatively hospitable world into the frozen, lifeless place it is today. There is evidence to suggest that Mars may have suffered such an impact. Impact craters dot the Martian surface, some of them enormous, suggesting that the planet has been struck by asteroids or comets over its history. The largest of these craters, such as the Hellas Basin, measures over 1,400 miles in diameter, hinting at the possibility of an impact that reshaped the Martian surface. What if these impacts were not just random collisions, but part of a broader cataclysmic event that decimated Mars's ability to support life? But what if the downfall of Mars was not a result of a single catastrophic event, but rather a combination of factors that led to a slow but inevitable decline? Mars's proximity to the Sun is often cited as a factor in its downfall. Despite being smaller than Earth, Mars once may have had a more temperate climate, an environment that allowed for the possibility of liquid water and life. But the planet's lack of a protective magnetic field, combined with its relatively thin atmosphere, meant that Mars was vulnerable to solar radiation. Over time, the solar winds would have stripped the atmosphere, gradually reducing Mars's ability to retain heat. This loss of heat could have triggered the loss of water, causing the once vibrant rivers and lakes to dry up, leaving only traces of their former existence. Even more intriguing is the possibility that Mars's magnetic field did not simply disappear, but that planetary events, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, or perhaps even internal shifts within the planet, could have played a significant role in the weakening of Mars's magnetism. Could these events have been the catalyst for the planet's environmental shift, causing a rapid loss of atmosphere and leading to the eventual collapse of Mars's ability to sustain life? While mainstream theories often focus on gradual processes, these more catastrophic ideas offer a fascinating contrast. What if the end of Mars's habitability was not a slow, drawn-out process, but a series of violent, world-altering events? What if Mars's ancient civilization, should it have existed, witnessed its own version of apocalypse as its environment spiraled out of control? Could the collapse of the Martian atmosphere and climate be compared to the apocalyptic events Earth's own civilizations have experienced? Wars, plagues, natural disasters that reshape the course of history and civilizations. As we dig deeper into the potential causes behind Mars's downfall, the role of catastrophic events becomes even more compelling. The possibility that Mars's decline was not only the result of natural processes, but also triggered by massive planetary upheaval, opens a vast speculative frontier for understanding the history of the red planet. What if the end of Mars's ability to support life was not just about the slow depletion of resources, but rather a series of violent, unpredictable occurrences that reshaped its entire environment? One of the most intriguing theories suggests that Mars could have been the victim of a supervolcanic eruption, an event so massive that it would have radically altered the planet's climate. Earth has experienced such catastrophic eruptions in the past. Events like the Toba eruption around 74,000 years ago, which caused a dramatic global cooling and contributed to the near extinction of early humans. If Mars experienced a similar supervolcanic event, the release of gases, ash and aerosols into the atmosphere would have blocked sunlight, drastically lowering temperatures and initiating a planetary-scale cooling period. This sudden drop in temperature could have frozen the planet's water reserves, causing rivers and lakes to solidify into ice. It would have been a deadly blow to any form of life that still existed on Mars's surface. However, this hypothesis doesn't just rest on the idea of volcanic activity. There is further speculation about the interaction between Mars's interior and its atmosphere. Some scientists suggest that a combination of geological processes, such as tectonic shifts, mantle plumes, and seismic activity, could have weakened the planet's core over time. As Mars's core cooled and solidified, its magnetic field may have diminished, allowing the solar winds to strip away the atmosphere. Without this protective barrier, Mars's surface became vulnerable to the sun's radiation, accelerating the planet's cooling and making it inhospitable to life. In tandem with these geological theories, asteroid impacts remain one of the most dramatic and immediate explanations for Mars's decline. Mars's surface is pockmarked with impact craters, some of which are the largest in the solar system. The Hellas Basin, one of the most prominent impact sites on Mars, is so vast that it could have potentially triggered a chain reaction of environmental changes. What if the impacts that scarred the surface of Mars were more than just the remnants of cosmic debris? They could have been the catalysts for Mars's eventual environmental collapse. An impact of sufficient size could have released enough heat and energy to cause global fires, disrupt the atmosphere, and trigger volcanic activity, setting in motion a series of catastrophic events that the planet's fragile environment could not recover from. Consider the atmospheric loss that would have following such an impact. The debris thrown into Mars's atmosphere could have blocked sunlight for extended periods, leading to a nuclear winter effect. Without sunlight, the planet's temperature would plummet, further exacerbating the already unstable conditions. Over time, the once thick Martian atmosphere would have dissipated, the liquid water evaporated, and the once thriving ecosystems would have collapsed into dust. Could these catastrophic events explain the apparent silence on Mars today? If ancient Martian civilizations did exist, did they experience their own version of an apocalypse? A sudden, all-encompassing disaster that wiped out their cities, their technologies, and their way of life. The more we speculate about the Martian cataclysm, the more it begins to feel eerily similar to apocalyptic narratives from Earth's own past. The fall of Mars's potential could be the cosmic mirror to humanity's own struggles with survival, resilience, and the delicate balance of our planet's resources. Mars may have witnessed a slow, steady decline due to the loss of its atmosphere, but the idea that its eventual downfall was triggered by one or more massive cataclysms, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, or geological shifts adds a layer of complexity to the story. What if Mars's collapse wasn't gradual, but violent, a violent shaking that altered the entire course of its future, leaving behind only fragments of a once thriving world? As we turn our attention back to Earth, we are faced with the inevitable question, could we be on the same path? What if our civilization faces the same challenges that Mars once did, an inability to adapt to changing environmental conditions? Or worse, the same catastrophic events that wiped out an entire planet's potential? Could Earth too be subject to the same forces that shaped Mars's fate? While humanity has made incredible technological advances, can we truly control our planet's destiny? Or are we too subject to the whims of cosmic forces and unpredictable planetary changes? The story of Mars's fall is more than a cautionary tale. It's a reminder of the fragility of life in the universe. If Mars's once thriving ecosystems and civilizations were wiped out by a series of catastrophic events, it forces us to reflect on the limits of our own civilization. What would we do if we faced similar challenges? On Earth, would we have the foresight and the technology to avert disaster? Or would we too fall prey to the same cosmic forces that once destroyed a Martian paradise? As we consider the catastrophic events that may have caused Mars's decline, it's important to reflect on what these events might have meant for any potential Martian civilizations. If such societies existed, what would their downfall have looked like? Could the cataclysmic changes to their environment have mirrored the challenges humanity faces today? The possibility that Mars's ancient civilization fell due to an unexpected disaster raises the question, did an ancient Martian apocalypse leave only whispers of their existence behind? Could the same fate await us? While mainstream theories point to a gradual environmental decline, there are alternative speculations that suggest a sudden and violent collapse. Consider the possibility that Mars's ancient civilization was thriving in a more habitable environment, with flowing rivers, warm temperatures, and an abundant atmosphere. The Martians, with their advanced technologies and societies, might have been unaware that their planet was teetering on the brink of disaster. Then, an asteroid impact or a sudden shift in the planet's internal processes could have triggered a rapid and irreversible change, The chaos that followed would have led to the destruction of their infrastructure, their culture, and perhaps even their very way of life. In this scenario, the Martians could have experienced a form of planetary trauma that altered their world beyond recognition. Just as Earth's civilizations have faced wars, plagues, and natural disasters, the ancient Martians may have witnessed their world crumble around them, powerless to prevent their inevitable fall. Could they have understood the impending disaster, or were they caught off guard by the suddenness of it? Did they struggle to preserve their knowledge, perhaps creating underground shelters, hiding places, or repositories of their wisdom to safeguard against the oncoming apocalypse? The idea of a last-ditch effort by the Martians to preserve their civilization is a compelling one. Perhaps their final act was to send out probes into the cosmos, seeking new worlds to colonize, or perhaps they encoded their knowledge in the hopes that future explorers would one day uncover it. Some have speculated that Mars's ancient civilization may have even attempted to terraform another world, using their advanced technology to reshape the environment of a nearby planet or moon to ensure their species' survival. In such a scenario, it's possible that Martian probes or remnants of their technologies are scattered throughout our solar system, hidden artifacts waiting to be discovered. The fall of Mars could also serve as a poignant reminder for humanity. We are not alone in facing the fragility of existence. Just as Mars experienced the cataclysm that destroyed an entire ecosystem, Earth too faces its own existential threats. From climate change to asteroid impacts to the unpredictable forces of nature, we are living in an era where our survival is not guaranteed. The story of Mars's fall can act as both a warning and a lesson, a reminder that we must take proactive steps to preserve our world and avoid the mistakes of the Martians. If such a society ever existed, could the decline of Mars's civilization be an echo of what might happen on Earth? The Martians, once thriving and advanced, could have fallen prey to the same existential vulnerabilities that plague humanity today. Environmental collapse, resource depletion, and the dangers of unchecked technological advancement are all challenges we face as a global society. The rise and fall of the Martians might mirror the arc of human history, an advanced society that rises to great heights, only to be undone by forces beyond their control. And just as the Martians might have struggled to survive in the face of planetary catastrophe, we too must grapple with our own vulnerabilities. The story of Mars serves as a stark reminder that civilizations are fragile, and no matter how advanced we become, we remain subject to the powerful forces of nature and cosmic events that we cannot always control. Whether through catastrophic impacts, environmental shifts, or even self-inflicted destruction, the fate of Mars offers a chilling glimpse into the potential future of Earth. But there is hope in the story of Mars's downfall as well. Despite the desolation we see on the red planet today, Mars's history, if it ever harbored life, is a testament to the resilience of life itself. Even in the face of planetary destruction, life on Earth has found a way to persist and evolve. If the Martians ever existed, their legacy, preserved in their knowledge, their culture, and perhaps their technology, could one day guide humanity through its own crises. As we continue to explore Mars, we search not only for signs of past life, but for answers about the fragility of existence. Could Mars's fall have been an unavoidable event, or was it the result of poor decisions, technological missteps, or the unforeseen consequences of their advanced society? The answers to these questions could help us avoid the same fate and teach us how to build a future that lasts, not just for us, but for the generations to come. The history of life on Earth has been marked by incredible achievements, civilizations rising and falling, technological advancements, social transformations, and the enduring quest for knowledge. But what if this story is not unique to Earth? What if, millions of years ago, Mars experienced a similar cycle of rise and fall, an ancient civilization thriving in its prime, only to be lost to time, its secrets buried beneath the planet's dusty surface? The idea of parallel histories between Mars and Earth is a fascinating one, and while it remains speculative, the similarities between the two planets invite deep reflection. Just as human societies on Earth have developed and progressed over millennia, could the Martians have followed a similar path, Could they have gone through stages of technological evolution, creating innovations that mirrored our own journey, starting with simple tools, advancing through agriculture and engineering, and perhaps even reaching the height of their civilization, only to face a tragic downfall? At the core of this speculation lies a powerful question. If Mars once had a thriving society, does that make us part of an eternal cycle of rise and fall? Just as Earth's civilizations have emerged, flourished, and collapsed throughout history, could Mars's ancient civilization have followed the same trajectory? And if we are indeed part of this cosmic pattern, what can we learn from Mars's mistakes to avoid repeating them? Consider the technological advancements that both Martian and Earth civilizations might have made. Early societies on Earth began with rudimentary tools, stones, sticks, and fire, eventually developing agriculture and irrigation systems that transformed the planet's landscape. In time, these advancements gave rise to complex societies with intricate systems of governance, trade, and culture. Could Mars's ancient civilization have followed a similar path? Perhaps, like humanity, they began with simple technologies and gradually advanced to a point where they could manipulate their environment, create intricate structures, and develop systems of communication. If Mars once had a civilization, it's possible that their technological trajectory mirrored ours in many ways. Maybe they began with basic tools, using the natural resources of their planet to craft weapons, building materials, and agricultural implements. Over time, their understanding of the natural world may have grown, leading to the development of engineering marvels, perhaps even spacecraft. Considering Mars's proximity to other planets and moons in our solar system, could the Martians have ventured into space, exploring their own moons, or even sending probes to distant asteroids and planets? While this may sound like science fiction, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Earth's journey from stone tools to space travel took mere millennia, and it's plausible that an advanced Martian society could have achieved similar milestones, given the right conditions. But the rise of technology, however advanced, does not come without its consequences. Earth's own history is full of examples of civilizations pushing the boundaries of their environment, only to face the consequences of their actions. Could the Martians have experienced the same challenges? Perhaps their technological advancements led to unintended environmental consequences, altering the planet's climate or depleting its natural resources. As they expanded their influence over Mars, did they fail to understand the delicate balance between progress and sustainability? Or was their downfall the result of a cataclysmic event, such as a massive asteroid impact, that wiped out their civilization in a matter of days or weeks? This parallel history between Mars and Earth brings to mind the fragility of civilizations, even those that reach the peak of their technological prowess. As we look at Earth's own history, we see the rise and fall of great empires: Rome, Greece, Egypt, and countless others, each of which reached its zenith only to be undone by forces beyond their control. Could the same fate have befallen Mars's civilization, with the fragility of their environment and the pressures of technological advancement, leading to a similar collapse? While the idea of parallel histories between Mars and Earth remains speculative, it forces us to think about the long-term sustainability of our own civilization. Are we on the same path as we continue to push the boundaries of technology, altering our environment and harnessing the power of the Earth's natural resources? Do we risk facing the same fate as Mars's lost civilization? As we continue to explore the speculative parallels between Martian and Earth civilizations, we can't help but wonder, how closely did the social structures of the Martians mirror our own? If an advanced Martian society ever existed, could their social systems, governance, and cultural practices have followed similar trajectories to the development of societies on Earth? Could their civilizations have been as complex as ours, with intricate political systems, social hierarchies, and cultural achievements? On Earth, early human societies evolved from simple tribal structures to more organized forms of governance, such as city-states, empires, and eventually nation-states. The shift from small, localized communities to larger, more centralized forms of government was a key moment in the development of civilization. Could the Martians have followed a similar pattern? Perhaps their early societies began in small communities, living in harmony with nature, and over time, these communities grew into larger cities with specialized roles for individuals, much like the ancient civilizations of Earth. The rise of agriculture likely played a pivotal role in this process, as it did on Earth, allowing Martians to settle in one place and build permanent structures. As their civilization grew, could they have developed cities and states, each with its own rulers and governance systems? It's possible that early Martian societies were tribal in nature, with small groups of individuals living together in close-knit communities. Over time, as their technology and social structures advanced, they may have formed larger, more complex political systems. Perhaps their cities were centers of trade, education, and culture, much like the great cities of ancient Earth, Babylon, Athens, and Rome. Would the Martians have had their own version of kings, philosophers, and scientists, individuals who shaped the direction of their society and the course of their intellectual development? Earth's ancient civilizations produced some of the greatest thinkers in history. Figures like Socrates, Aristotle, Confucius, and Leonardo da Vinci. Could the Martians have had their own philosophers and scientists who pushed the boundaries of knowledge, developing theories on mathematics, physics, and the natural world? It's plausible that their academies and libraries contained vast stores of knowledge, preserved for future generations. However, as with any great civilization, the growth of Martian society may have come with its own set of challenges. On Earth, the rise of civilization has often been marked by social inequality, conflict, and warfare. Could the Martians have faced similar struggles? As their cities grew and their technologies advanced, could they have become more divided? Perhaps social classes developed, with elites controlling resources and wealth, while the majority of the population struggled to meet their basic needs. This growing inequality could have led to internal strife, as it did in many Earth civilizations. Moreover, as their society grew more advanced, could the Martians have developed militaries and engaged in wars over resources, territory, or ideological differences? On Earth, the history of civilization is filled with the rise and fall of empires, each fighting for dominance over land, wealth, and power. Could the Martians have gone down a similar path, using their advanced technology and knowledge for warfare, perhaps even risking their planet's destruction in the process? The social collapse of Mars's civilization, if it occurred, may have been a result of these very conflicts. The breakdown of social cohesion, coupled with the environmental pressures of a planet growing inhospitable, could have led to internal instability. Perhaps, in their final days, the Martians were not only battling the catastrophic shifts in their environment, but also each other, divided by class, ideology, and the very technologies they had created. Yet, it's also possible that Martian society, faced with these challenges, sought to reform. Could they have had their own philosophers and leaders who recognized the dangers of their society's direction and tried to course correct, just as Earth's greatest thinkers have warned against the perils of unchecked technological advancement? Could the Martians have reached similar conclusions? Could they have developed ethical codes, perhaps even focusing on sustainability and planetary stewardship, in an attempt to preserve their world before it was too late? One of the most profound aspects of Earth's civilizations is the drive to explore the unknown. Exploration and discovery have always been at the heart of human advancement. From the ancient navigators crossing the seas to the modern-day pioneers venturing into space, could the Martians have shared this same thirst for exploration? As their society reached its peak, could they have set their sights on other planets and moons within their solar system? What if their eventual downfall was not just the result of internal collapse, but also the inability to master the very technology they had developed to explore the stars? As we reach the final stages of this comparison between Martian and Earth civilizations, we must consider the most striking parallel of all, the cataclysmic events that could have led to the downfall of both worlds. While Earth's civilizations have faced countless challenges, from natural disasters to war, Mars's decline may have mirrored these struggles, amplifying the fragility of all civilizations, no matter how advanced. Earth's history is marked by catastrophic events that have reshaped entire civilizations, whether through climate change, asteroid impacts, or world wars. humanity has repeatedly faced existential threats. In many ways, these crises have shaped our societies, leading to moments of reflection and transformation. Could Mars have faced a similar fate? Could an ancient Martian society, once thriving with technological marvels and societal advancements, have been undone by a series of devastating cataclysms, either natural or self-inflicted? As we imagine the Martians' final days, it's possible that the Martian apocalypse was the result of multiple factors converging. Like Earth's civilizations, the Martians might have faced environmental changes, resource depletion, or technological overreach, all of which led to their downfall. Could their advanced society, in its attempt to conquer and control the planet, have pushed their environment beyond its limits? Could their technological advancements, intended to improve their lives, have instead become the catalyst for their destruction? The Martians might have been faced with the realization that their world, once rich with water, atmosphere, and life, was becoming a hostile place, and no amount of innovation or adaptation could reverse the damage done. In this way, Mars's story could serve as a cosmic mirror to humanity's own struggles with sustainability and overconsumption. The rise of technology and industry on Earth has led to unprecedented global changes, many of which threaten the health of our planet. Could we too be heading down the same path as the Martians? Could the lessons from their downfall offer us a chance to avoid a similar fate? The environmental collapse on Mars may have begun with a single catastrophic event, like an asteroid impact or a supervolcanic eruption, but the true cause of the Martian apocalypse could have been a more gradual, insidious process. Perhaps Mars's once thick atmosphere, once capable of supporting life, was stripped away over millennia, leaving the planet vulnerable to solar radiation and extreme cold. As the climate on Mars deteriorated, the Martians may have been forced to face the harsh reality that their planet was slowly becoming uninhabitable. Yet despite their technological prowess, they could not stop the inevitable. Perhaps the Martians, in their final moments, turned their eyes to the stars, hoping to find new worlds to inhabit, just as humanity dreams of colonizing other planets today. Could they have sent out exploration missions, launching spacecraft to neighboring moons or planets, trying to preserve their legacy and knowledge for future generations? It's possible that they looked to space as their salvation, hoping to escape a dying world, just as humanity is currently exploring ways to reach Mars and beyond. Did the Martians leave behind clues sent out into the cosmos, hoping that one day an advanced species might come across their legacy? Yet, despite their advancements, it's likely that the Martians, like Earth's civilizations, were unable to foresee the full consequences of their actions. In their pursuit of progress, they may have neglected the balance between technological advancement and environmental stewardship. Just as Earth's civilizations have been built on exploitation of natural resources, could the Martians have mined their planet's resources to the point of depletion, hastening their demise? While the fate of Mars's ancient civilization remains speculative, the parallels between their rise and fall and the history of human societies are impossible to ignore. As we look at the challenges we face on Earth, climate change, resource depletion, political instability, and the rise of new technologies that we may not fully understand, are we witnessing the beginning of our own cycle of rise and fall? Could Mars's demise serve as a warning, urging us to act now before we repeat their mistakes? Mars, the red planet, has long been a subject of fascination, not only because of the possibilities it holds for human exploration, but also due to the mysteries of its past. Could Mars have once been the cradle of a civilization that in some way influenced the development of life on Earth? This speculative theory, though bold, raises an important question. Could the ancient civilization of Mars have had a direct or indirect impact on early Earth life, shaping human development in ways that we are still unaware of? Imagine, for a moment, that the Martians, in their technological and intellectual prowess, were able to reach Earth, or at least communicate with early forms of life on our planet. If Mars's ancient society was as advanced as some speculate, could they have somehow left their mark on Earth's evolutionary history? Could their knowledge, whether in the form of technology, philosophy, or culture, have been passed down through cosmic events, directly influencing the course of life on Earth? At first glance, this may seem like a far-fetched idea. After all, Earth and Mars are separated by millions of miles of space, and the two planets have never shared an atmosphere or ecosystem. However, consider the history of cosmic interactions between planets in our solar system. Mars and Earth have always existed in close proximity to each other, and over the millennia, they have shared common cosmic experiences, such as asteroid impacts, solar winds, and gravitational influences. What if, in the distant past, Mars's downfall somehow affected Earth, either through a direct exchange of energy or a subtle, undetected influence? Let's start with one of the most dramatic events in the history of our solar system: asteroid impacts. Mars, like Earth, has been bombarded by asteroids and comets over billions of years. What if one of these cosmic collisions, whether occurring on Mars or in the space between the two planets, sent debris flying from Mars to Earth? Could the Martians have experienced their own planetary scale catastrophe? Perhaps an asteroid impact so powerful that it sent material from Mars toward Earth. Scientists have long speculated that planetary collisions or asteroid exchanges could have been responsible for the transfer of material between Earth and Mars. It is possible that during these events, ancient Martian microbes, perhaps even remnants of their civilization, were carried by the debris to Earth, potentially seeding the early forms of life on our planet. The idea of panspermia, the theory that life on Earth may have originated from extraterrestrial sources, such as asteroids or comets, is one of the more intriguing possibilities. What if the early Earth received life-giving material, not from distant stars, but from its neighbor, Mars? Mars's once habitable environment may have supported microbial life that was somehow transferred to Earth, either through an impact or some other cosmic event. These microbes could have taken root on Earth, potentially giving rise to the first life forms on our planet. If this theory holds any merit, it suggests that life on Earth may not be as unique as we believe. Instead, it could be the product of a cosmic exchange, one that began with Mars. But what if Mars's influence on Earth wasn't limited to physical material or microbial life? Could their knowledge have been passed down through more subtle cosmic means? Imagine that Mars's ancient civilization, in its pursuit of knowledge and understanding, developed ideas and technologies that were ahead of their time. Could some of this knowledge have found its way to Earth, either through direct contact or through the shared cosmic environment? Perhaps the Martians, in their efforts to survive and adapt to a changing world, developed philosophies and theories about the universe, life and existence that were passed down to early Earth cultures through mechanisms we cannot yet comprehend. The idea that ancient knowledge could have been passed from Mars to Earth is not as far-fetched as it may seem. Consider the mysterious similarities between ancient civilizations on Earth. Throughout history, different cultures, separated by vast distances, have developed similar ideas about the stars, geometry, mathematics, and even architectural structures. Could these similarities be the result of a shared cosmic influence? Perhaps the ideas that shaped Earth's ancient cultures, ideas about the heavens, the nature of the cosmos, and the mysteries of life, were not entirely original to Earth, but were, in some way, inspired by an ancient Martian civilization. In this scenario, the rise of ancient civilizations on Earth, such as those in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley, could be seen as the result of cosmic inspiration. If Mars once had an advanced society that understood the forces of nature, the movements of the stars, and the structure of the universe, could that knowledge have been passed to Earth through the stars themselves? Could the pyramids of Egypt, the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, and the sophisticated mathematics of the Mayans have been influenced by Martian knowledge, either directly or indirectly? These ideas remain speculative, but they raise a tantalizing question about the origins of human civilization. As we continue to speculate on the possible influence Mars could have had on Earth, it's essential to consider the interactions between our two worlds over the millennia. Mars and Earth share many similarities. Both planets have surface features shaped by water, both have been bombarded by cosmic debris, and both have undergone significant geological transformations. But could there have been more direct interactions that influenced the development of life on Earth? The concept of panspermia, as mentioned earlier, is one of the most intriguing theories in this context. According to this theory, life on Earth could have originated from microorganisms that traveled from other planets, including Mars. The theory suggests that microbial life could have been ejected from Mars due to the violent impact of asteroids or comets, and these microbes could have made their way to Earth, either through space or through the transfer of material during planetary collisions. This idea, which was once considered a fringe theory, has gained traction in recent years due to advances in astrobiology. For instance, some scientists argue that Mars may have harbored life, even complex life, when it was warmer and had a thicker atmosphere. As Mars cooled and its atmosphere thinned, surface became inhospitable. But could life have been carried away from the planet in the form of microscopic organisms, embedded in Martian rocks or frozen in icy comets? If this material made its way to Earth, it could have delivered the genetic building blocks necessary for life to take root on our planet. This would mean that Earth's life, at least in its earliest forms, may have been seeded by Mars. But could the influence of Mars have gone beyond the biological? Could the very ideas and technologies of an ancient Martian civilization have somehow made their way to Earth through the transmission of knowledge in ways we don't yet fully understand? In ancient human history, the origins of certain cultural practices and technologies often appear as if they were inspired or transmitted from another source. The rise of the ancient pyramids in Egypt, the mysterious knowledge of the Sumerians, and the advanced astronomical understanding of the Mayan civilization, these achievements have long been the subject of debate. What if the ideas that spurred such technological and intellectual advances didn't originate solely on Earth, but were instead influenced by an ancient civilization from Mars? Imagine that, during some form of contact, either through cosmic events or possibly even direct interaction, early human civilizations absorbed knowledge from Mars. Perhaps early humans were unknowingly guided by Martian ideas about mathematics, geometry, astronomy, and the cosmos. Could Mars have imparted these principles, directly or indirectly, to early Earth cultures, shaping the course of human development in subtle yet profound ways? This theory, while speculative, suggests that humanity's knowledge of the stars and the universe may not be as original as we believe. The alignment of the Great Pyramids of Giza with the stars in the Orion constellation, the mathematical precision of ancient Sumerian architecture, and the sophisticated astronomy of the Mayans. Could these all be traces of an influence from Mars? What if the Martians, in their advanced state, had a profound understanding of the cosmic forces, and their discoveries were passed to Earth's earliest civilizations through some cosmic means? Another possibility is that the transfer of knowledge could have occurred through asteroidal impacts, in which not only biological material, but also cultural artifacts or advanced technologies were sent from Mars to Earth. Could pieces of Martian civilization have traveled across space, carried on comets or asteroids, arriving on Earth and influencing the early stages of human culture? While this may sound like science fiction, the notion that planets exchange material and possibly information through cosmic interactions is not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Cosmic dust, meteorites, and asteroid impacts have long been known to deliver both organic compounds and elements across the solar system. Could Mars have left more behind than just microbes? Could it have passed on the seeds of intellectual and technological advancement, slowly influencing the trajectory of Earth's civilizations? If Mars did have a thriving civilization and some form of contact with Earth's early life, it raises profound questions about the interconnectedness of life in the cosmos. Could there be an interplanetary exchange of knowledge, not just through biological material, but through the very fabric of culture and intellectual advancement? The more we learn about the cosmos, the more we begin to understand that our own development may not have been as isolated as we think. Perhaps, like the planets themselves, Earth's civilization is part of a cosmic web influenced by forces and events beyond our comprehension. As we continue to speculate on the potential influence of Mars on Earth, we must turn our attention to a deeper, more philosophical consideration. Could Mars's ancient civilization have shaped human consciousness in ways that we are only beginning to understand? What if the ideas, discoveries, and knowledge that once flourished on Mars were not just transferred through material means, but in ways that subtly influence the very way we think, create, and understand the universe. Could we unknowingly carry the legacy of Mars within us? Throughout history, Earth's civilizations have exhibited remarkable patterns of knowledge, particularly in mathematics, astronomy, and architecture, that seem to appear suddenly without clear origins. Could the sudden rise of these intellectual achievements be connected to influences beyond Earth? Mars, with its advanced society and seemingly sophisticated understanding of the cosmos, could have provided the intellectual seed from which human civilizations blossomed. As humanity looked to the stars, could they have been tapping into an ancient Martian worldview, one that had already mapped the heavens long before Earth's astronomers set their eyes on the night sky? If Martian knowledge did indeed influence Earth, it raises profound questions about the cosmic transmission of information. What if the development of mathematical concepts, such as the pi constant, the golden ratio, and the complex geometrical principles used in the construction of the Great Pyramids, was not entirely Earthborn? The precision with which ancient societies aligned their structures with the stars or created complex calendars may have been inspired by an understanding of the cosmos that was not of Earth's making. Could the Martians, in their advanced state, have developed these concepts long ago, passing them down through cosmic exchanges that we have yet to fully understand? In addition to mathematics and astronomy, consider the potential influence on philosophy and science. Earth's ancient philosophers, from the Greeks to the Indians to the Chinese, all came to similar conclusions about the nature of existence, the cosmos, and the role of humans in the universe. Could these philosophies have been influenced by Martian thought, passed down through indirect means or even through the transfer of scientific principles? If Mars once had a society that understood the fundamental laws of nature, could those laws have been encoded into the very fabric of the knowledge humans developed over time? The influence of Martian philosophy could have shaped our earliest spiritual beliefs too. Ancient Earth civilizations often looked to the stars for guidance, worshipping celestial bodies and seeking meaning in the cosmos. The pyramids of Egypt, the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, and the stone circles of Europe, these monumental structures were often aligned with the stars, suggesting that the ancients saw a cosmic connection between their societies and the heavens. Could this sense of cosmic interconnectedness have been inherited from the knowledge of a now lost Martian civilization, which understood the role of the stars and the universe in ways we are just beginning to rediscover? Perhaps the most intriguing possibility is that the legacy of Mars is not just contained in physical artifacts, biological material, or intellectual knowledge, but in a deeper cosmic memory, an imprint left on human consciousness. Could humanity, in our quest for meaning, unknowingly carry the memory of Mars's rise and fall within our own myths, legends, and cultural practices? Throughout history, cultures have looked to the sky for answers, believing that the stars and planets have a profound influence on their lives. What if these beliefs are not just the result of human imagination, but a deep cosmic memory encoded in our collective consciousness, linking us to a long-lost civilization on Mars? In considering the potential influence of Mars on Earth, it's important to reflect on the fragility of civilizations. Both Earth and Mars share a history of rise and fall, progress and collapse. Could the story of Mars's civilization serve as a warning to humanity, urging us to recognize the delicate balance that sustains our own society? If Mars's downfall was caused by internal forces, perhaps overconsumption of resources, environmental neglect, or the unchecked growth of technology, could Earth be heading down a similar path? The similarities between the two planets force us to ask, what if we are part of a cosmic cycle, one in which civilizations rise, flourish, and eventually fall, leaving only whispers of their existence behind? In our search for meaning, could we unknowingly carry the wisdom of Mars within us, passed down through cosmic influence? As we continue to look to the stars, we might one day uncover the truth that humanity's story is not solely earthbound, but is part of a larger cosmic narrative, one that spans planets, civilizations, and the unknown forces that shape the destiny of life itself. Across the globe, ancient cultures have created stories, myths, and legends to explain the mysteries of the universe, from the creation of the world to the fate of humankind. Many of these stories feature gods, celestial beings, and catastrophic events that shaped the course of history. But what if some of these myths, passed down through generations, are not just the product of human imagination, but echoes of a lost civilization that once lived on a neighboring planet? Mars, the red planet, has long been a subject of intrigue and speculation, especially regarding its potential history as a home to an ancient advanced society. Could the myths and legends of Earth's ancient cultures be more than just allegories or symbolic stories? Could they be traces of ancient knowledge passed down through the ages, pointing to a time when Earth's ancestors were aware of Mars's fate, of a civilization that once thrived on the red planet but was lost to cosmic events? Consider the many myths of gods and celestial beings that appear in the creation stories of various cultures. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Ra, the sun god, was said to sail across the sky in a boat, bringing light and life to the earth. But what if this myth, like many others, is a symbolic representation of something more profound, a connection between Earth and Mars? Some have speculated that Ra could be a representation of a Martian god, an entity that guided both planets in their shared cosmic journey. What if the ancient Egyptians, with their deep knowledge of the stars and the cosmos, understood a deeper truth about Mars, linking the two planets through their spiritual and mythological traditions? Similarly, in Sumerian mythology, the gods are said to have come from the heavens, descending to Earth to teach humanity the ways of civilization. Could these gods have had a connection to Mars? The Sumerians were among the first to develop advanced mathematics, astronomy, and writing, and their understanding of the stars was profound. Is it possible that their knowledge came from an ancient connection to Mars, passed down by beings from that distant world who once visited or influenced Earth? In Greek mythology, the gods and goddesses ruled from the heavens, but many of their stories involve celestial wars, divine interventions, and the destruction of entire civilizations. Ares, the Greek god of war, is closely associated with Mars in Roman mythology, with both gods representing the same archetype of aggression and conflict. Could Ares be more than just a symbolic figure? Could he be a representation of Martian forces, cosmic powers that once shaped the fate of an ancient Martian civilization? The gods' frequent battles, destructive interventions, and reshaping of the world might reflect the catastrophic events that brought down Mars's own society, a civilization that experienced its own cosmic upheavals. The Indian Vedas, some of the oldest texts in human history, describe gods who wielded powerful weapons capable of devastating entire cities, invoking images of celestial battles fought in the heavens. The descriptions of these weapons, often compared to modern-day nuclear weapons, have led some scholars to wonder if these ancient texts might be reflecting a deeper, more profound understanding of cosmic warfare, a reference to the downfall of Mars and its advanced civilizations, who may have had weapons or technology far beyond anything we can imagine today. Could the Vedic gods have been guardians or survivors of a Martian society, passing down their knowledge and technological prowess to Earth's earliest civilizations? In Mayan culture, the gods were said to have descended from the stars, bringing with them knowledge of time, calendars, and the cosmos. The Mayans were expert astronomers, capable of mapping the stars with incredible precision. Could this celestial knowledge have come from Mars, passed down from an ancient civilization that once gazed up at the stars with similar reverence? The Mayan calendar, which tracks the cycles of time with extraordinary accuracy, might be a subtle reflection of the knowledge passed down from Mars, a world whose inhabitants may have understood the flow of time and cosmic cycles in ways we can only begin to comprehend. One of the most compelling aspects of these myths and legends is the catastrophic events that often appear in them. From floods to wars to the end of the world, many cultures share stories of divine retribution or cosmic upheavals that forever changed the course of history. Could these stories be more than just symbolic? Could they be reflections of real events, cosmic or planetary cataclysms that shaped the fate of Mars and its civilization? In Noah's Ark and the Great Flood, in Judeo-Christian mythology, the story of a great flood that wiped out most of humanity is a central theme. But what if the flood described in these texts is not just a myth, but a representation of a catastrophic event that affected more than just Earth? Could the Great Flood be a memory of a cosmic event such as the destruction of Mars's atmosphere or the impact of a massive asteroid that sent debris and water from Mars crashing to Earth, wiping out civilizations on both planets? What if the flood is a memory of the catastrophe that destroyed Mars, a planetary-scale disaster that sent ripples through the cosmos, reaching Earth in ways we can only imagine? The stories of cosmic destruction in ancient Earth cultures may not be the result of human imagination alone. They could be ancient memories of a time when Mars was not just a distant planet, but a living, thriving world, one whose fate was intertwined with Earth's own. Could these myths be echoes of Martian whispers, passed down through generations, warning us of the fragility of civilizations and the cosmic forces that govern the rise and fall of worlds? As we continue to explore the possibility that Earth's ancient myths and legends may be connected to Mars's lost civilization, it's important to delve deeper into the shared themes of cosmic destruction and rebirth found in many global cultures. These themes could be more than mere folklore. They could represent the collective memory of a cosmic disaster that affected both Mars and Earth. Could the echoes of this shared experience be passed down through time, manifesting in myths about gods, floods, and cataclysms? The destruction of cities is another recurring theme in Earth's myths. Across various cultures, stories of once thriving cities being destroyed by divine wrath or natural disasters abound. In Greek mythology, the tale of Atlantis, an advanced civilization swallowed by the sea, mirrors the idea of a society that reached great heights of power and knowledge, only to be wiped out by a catastrophic event. Could Atlantis, often depicted as a technologically advanced society, be a metaphor for an ancient Martian civilization, one that perished in a cosmic catastrophe? The timing of the destruction of Atlantis, a sudden and violent end, could be seen as a reflection of Mars's own downfall. Just as the Martian environment shifted and became inhospitable, could the Martians have experienced their own apocalyptic event that wiped out their civilization, leaving only legends and hints of their existence behind? In Hindu mythology, there is the concept of kalpa, a cycle of time that involves the creation and destruction of the universe. This cyclical view of time suggests that civilizations rise and fall, only to rise again in new forms. Could this myth represent a deeper truth about the life cycles of planets and civilizations? Could it be a reflection of Mars's rise and fall, with the ancient Martians understanding that their civilization would not be the last to fall, and that future societies like ours would face similar challenges? The cyclical nature of time, described in Hinduism, may reflect the eventual fate of all civilization on Earth or Mars. The destruction of one world society could lay the foundation for the rise of another. Could Earth's own rise in civilization be linked to the downfall of Mars? The Mayan calendar offers another piece of the puzzle. The Mayans had an extraordinarily sophisticated understanding of time and the cosmos, and their long count calendar tracked long cycles of creation and destruction. The 2012 phenomenon, which predicted the end of the world, was based on the completion of one of these great cycles. But what if this calendar is not simply a reflection of Earth's history, but also a cosmic memory of past planetary cataclysms? Could the Mayans have known, through ancient knowledge passed down to them, that the end of one cycle marks the beginning of another? If Mars had experienced such a cataclysm, could Earth's own calendar and mythological cycles be tracing the echoes of Mars's downfall, reminders that every civilization, no matter how advanced, will face its own moment of reckoning? In the Bible, the story of Noah's Ark and the Great Flood serves as a powerful allegory for the destruction and rebirth of humanity. While mainstream interpretations of this story often focus on a divine punishment for humanity's sins, there are alternative theories that suggest the flood could be a memory of a much older event, perhaps a planetary catastrophe. Some researchers speculate that the Great Flood could be a symbolic recollection of the cataclysm that affected Mars, an event that sent debris crashing to Earth, creating massive floods and widespread destruction. If Mars's downfall was catastrophic enough to send material from its surface to Earth, the impact could have caused a global disaster, leaving Earth's survivors with vivid memories of a near-apocalyptic event. Could the biblical flood stories, passed down through generations, be a cosmic echo of the Martian cataclysm? Another example of cosmic memory is found in the Native American traditions of the Hopis and other southwestern tribes. According to Hopi prophecy, the world has gone through multiple cycles of creation and destruction, with each cycle leading to the rise of a new world. The Hopi speak of Kachinas, spiritual beings associated with the stars and the sky. Some have speculated that the Hopi stories of the Kachinas could be a coded reference to ancient extraterrestrial influences. Could these stories be about the Martians, beings from a distant planet who once visited Earth and passed down their knowledge? Perhaps the Hopi, through their myths and prophecies, are recalling the influence of an advanced Martian civilization that left behind teachings about the cosmos, the stars, and the forces that shape the universe. As we continue to examine Earth's myths and legends, we can't ignore the recurring motifs of destruction, rebirth, and cosmic intervention. The global nature of these themes suggests that they may be more than just the product of human imagination. They could be echoes of Martian whispers, passed down through generations, memories of a civilization that once thrived on Mars, only to be wiped out by a cataclysmic event. These myths could be humanity's way of remembering the fragility of civilization and the forces that govern the rise and fall of worlds. Could the stories of gods and celestial beings, of divine punishment and cosmic destruction, be encoded memories of Mars's lost civilization? Could the myths of Earth's ancient cultures be the remnants of a cosmic history shared by both Mars and Earth? Two planets once linked in a grand cosmic drama, now separated by time and space. If these legends are indeed echoes of Martian influence, they may hold the key to understanding the deeper universal truths that govern the rise and fall of civilizations. As we reach the final part of our exploration into the potential connection between Martian history and Earth's myths, we begin to think about the legacy left behind by Mars's ancient civilization. Could the memories of their rise and fall be embedded not only in myths and legends, but in human consciousness itself? Could humanity unknowingly carry the echoes of Mars, passed down through generations, shaping our beliefs, our culture, and even our fears? One of the most profound aspects of human history is our connection to the stars. Across all cultures, humans have gazed at the night sky, seeking answers to the mysteries of existence. The stars and planets have always been seen as more than just distant, glowing spheres. They have been gods, guides, and symbols of the unknown. Could these beliefs be a subtle reflection of Mars's influence on Earth? If Mars once had a thriving civilization, could the memory of its existence have been preserved in the myths of the stars, especially in the stories of celestial gods and beings? Take, for example, the ancient Egyptians, whose pantheon of gods was intricately tied to the cosmos. The star Sirius, for instance, played a central role in Egyptian religion, and its annual rise marked the beginning of the flooding of the Nile, a critical event in the agricultural calendar. The Egyptians also believed that the gods came from the heavens, and many of their monuments were aligned with celestial bodies. Could the Egyptian gods, with their connection to the stars and the heavens, have been a symbolic representation of Martian gods, beings from a distant world who once influenced the course of human development? The Egyptians, known for their advanced understanding of astronomy and architecture, could have absorbed the cosmic knowledge of Mars, either through direct contact or through ancient teachings passed down from generation to generation. Similarly, the Greeks had their own celestial gods, many of whom were linked to the planets and stars. Ares, the god of war, was identified with Mars in Roman mythology. The parallels between the gods of Earth and the potential Martian influence suggest that the knowledge and beliefs surrounding the planets could have been more than mere coincidence. If the Martians were once aware of the cosmic forces at play, they could have passed their understanding down through the stars, subtly guiding Earth's civilizations to a deeper understanding of the universe. Could the myths of war and destruction, symbolized by gods like Ares, be a reflection of Mars's own downfall, a warning passed down through the ages to remind humanity of the fragility of civilizations? Another fascinating aspect of Martian influence on Earth lies in the archetypal stories that exist in cultures across the globe. The themes of a lost civilization, a cataclysmic event, and the fall of a great society are recurring motifs in ancient mythologies. In addition to Atlantis and the Great Flood, Many cultures share stories of gods or beings who descended from the sky and imparted knowledge to humankind. Could these gods be a representation of Martian beings, ancient Martians who visited Earth before their civilization's downfall, passing on their knowledge of the cosmos, technology, and survival? The Mayan civilization, known for its advanced understanding of time and the cosmos, has also contributed to the mythology of celestial influences. The Mayans were deeply attuned to the movements of the stars, and their long count calendar tracked the cycles of the cosmos with incredible precision. The Mayan calendar, which was thought to predict the end of the world in 2012, could reflect a deeper cosmic understanding of time, one that was not solely earthbound. Could the Mayans, with their profound knowledge of the stars and the heavens, have inherited this cosmic wisdom from Mars? Could the calendar's predictions of the end of an era be linked to the destruction of Mars's own civilization, a cataclysmic event that reshaped the course of history? The idea of cosmic knowledge being passed down from one planet to another challenges the way we think about civilization and evolution. Could Mars have been more than just a distant neighbor in the solar system? Could it have been the cradle of knowledge, offering humanity the keys to understanding the universe? The many similarities between Martian myths and Earth's myths may suggest that humanity is not alone in its struggle to understand the cosmos. The Martians, with their advanced civilization and understanding of the stars, may have unknowingly laid the groundwork for Earth's own civilizations to rise, fall, and learn. Perhaps the most profound question we can ask is, could we unknowingly carry the legacy of Mars within us? If the Martians were indeed an advanced society, capable of exploring the stars and understanding the forces of the universe, could their knowledge have been passed down to us, shaping our civilization in ways we don't yet fully comprehend? What if the very myths and legends we hold dear, stories of gods, celestial beings, and cosmic destruction, are not just ancient tales, but echoes of a Martian past, a reminder of a lost civilization that once lived on a neighboring planet? As we continue to explore Mars and uncover its secrets, the question remains, what if we are not just exploring a dead planet, but reconnecting with an ancient cosmic story, a story that links Mars and Earth, two planets bound together by the rise and fall of civilization? Could the story of Mars's lost civilization be the key to unlocking humanity's future, teaching us not just about the past, but about the fragile nature of civilization itself? As humanity sets its sights on Mars, the question is no longer just about the possibility of life on the red planet or the ancient remnants of a once thriving Martian civilization. We are now standing on the brink of an entirely new era, one where we may soon become the first to set foot on Mars and begin the long journey toward colonization. But as we prepare to plant our flags on the Martian soil, we must ask, what will we find when we get there? Humanity's fascination with Mars has existed for centuries, driven by the belief that we might one day discover the secrets of the red planet. For years, Mars has been a symbol of possibility, of worlds beyond our own, of life elsewhere in the universe, and of a future where we can expand beyond the confines of Earth. From the first telescope observations to the Viking missions in the 1970s, our curiosity about Mars has only deepened with each new discovery. Now, with the advent of more advanced technologies, rovers, and orbital probes, we are getting closer to the day when human boots will touch the Martian surface. But while the prospect of colonizing Mars is an exciting one, it also raises profound questions. Are we simply seeking to colonize a new world, or are we on the verge of rediscovering a lost civilization? As we venture to Mars, the search for Martian artifacts, traces of an ancient Martian civilization that may have once called the planet home, remains one of the most captivating aspects of our mission. The possibility that Mars once hosted intelligent life, a civilization capable of great achievements, has never fully left the human imagination. Could it be that buried beneath Mars's desolate surface lies evidence of this forgotten world, artifacts, tools, or even remnants of Martian cities waiting to be uncovered? As space agencies like NASA, SpaceX, and Blue Origin work to lay the groundwork for human missions to Mars, one of the key objectives will be to explore and study the Martian surface in more detail than ever before. But the task is daunting. Mars's surface is harsh, with extreme temperatures, high radiation levels, and dust storms that can rage for months at a time. So, while colonization efforts will focus on building habitats and ensuring human survival, they will also have to contend with the possibility that we may stumble upon the remains of a Martian civilization buried deep beneath the red sands. Just as ancient Earth civilizations left behind monuments, cities, and artifacts, Mars could potentially harbor similar remnants, pieces of history that tell a story of a once thriving world that now only exists in fragments, buried under millions of years of dust and erosion. Could Mars's ancient civilization have left behind technological artifacts, tools, buildings, or even pieces of machinery that could help us understand their rise and fall? If we are able to unearth these artifacts, they could unlock secrets of the Martian past, secrets that might hold answers to questions about the origins of life, the nature of intelligence, and the fate of civilizations in the cosmos. As we consider the potential for rediscovery, we are reminded of the archaeological undertakings on Earth, how every dig, every unearthing of an ancient city or artifact opens new doors to understanding our own history. If Mars once hosted life or even an advanced civilization, its rediscovery could change everything we know about the evolution of planets and species. Could Mars have had a culture that developed in parallel with Earth, sharing similarities with our own early societies? If so, what lessons could we learn from their rise and fall? However, as we stand at the edge of this new frontier, there is an undeniable sense of danger lurking beneath the surface. Could the same mistakes that led to the downfall of the Martians be in danger of repeating themselves on Earth or even on Mars itself? The environmental degradation, resource depletion, and technological overreach that brought down the Martians might serve as a warning for us, one that we must heed as we move forward with our own ambitions in space. Are we on the brink of an ancient reunion, a rediscovery of Martian civilization, or are we marching toward repeating the mistakes of a world long gone? As we look to the stars and prepare to colonize a distant planet, it's impossible to ignore the parallels between our own society and the ancient Martians. Could we be doomed to follow the same trajectory, driven by unchecked technological progress and environmental mismanagement? Only time will tell whether our journey to Mars will lead to new beginnings or serve as a stark reminder of the fragility of civilizations, both on Earth and beyond. As humanity advances toward the potential colonization of Mars, the question that hangs over our ambitions is profound. Are we truly prepared to become stewards of Mars, or are we repeating the same mistakes that led to the fall of the Martian civilization? There is an inherent tension between the dreams of exploration and progress and the reality of sustainability and the lessons of the past. As we send humans to Mars, will we unlock the secrets of an ancient world, or will we risk recreating the very conditions that doomed the Martians? Mars, despite its desolate appearance, may not be the lifeless world we imagine. The search for life, past or present, remains one of the central missions of Mars exploration. In recent years, rovers like Curiosity, Perseverance, and the InSight lander have been exploring the Martian surface, uncovering signs of ancient water and organic molecules. These findings suggest that Mars may have once been a place capable of supporting life. Could these discoveries be the precursor to finding traces of an ancient civilization? Yet, for all the excitement of uncovering Mars's past, colonization efforts must face a stark truth. Mars is not Earth. Its atmosphere is thin, composed mainly of carbon dioxide, with little oxygen to breathe. The temperatures are frigid, often plummeting to nearly 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 6 degrees at night, and radiation from the sun bathes the surface, making it hostile to life as we know it. Any attempt at colonizing Mars will require technology far beyond what we currently possess: a sustainable habitat capable of shielding settlers from radiation, a reliable water source, and a life support system that can operate independently from Earth for long periods. While scientists and engineers work tirelessly to develop these technologies, one of the primary goals for human missions to Mars is to uncover Martian artifacts, pieces of a forgotten past that could rewrite our understanding of the cosmos. Imagine for a moment that human explorers set foot on Mars and stumbled upon something unexpected, an ancient Martian city, its stone structures partially buried beneath layers of dust and time. Would we know how to interpret what we found? Could we decipher their language, understand their technology, and learn from their mistakes? The discovery of Martian artifacts would be monumental. It could be the key to understanding how the Martians lived, what technologies they developed, and what ultimately led to their downfall. These artifacts could provide answers to the questions that have long plagued humanity. What is the nature of intelligence? How do civilizations rise and fall? What is our place in the universe? And is life intelligent life common or rare across the cosmos? However, it's not just about rediscovery. Colonizing Mars will be a journey into the unknown, one where we must tread carefully. The lessons of Earth's own environmental degradation should act as a warning. As Earth's population grows and resources dwindle, we are increasingly looking to space to solve our problems, whether through colonization or resource extraction. Yet, the history of Earth's civilizations tells us a clear story. Unchecked expansion, environmental exploitation, and the lack of sustainable practices lead to collapse. If we do not approach the colonization of Mars with caution and responsibility, we may very well mirror the mistakes of the Martians, inadvertently setting the stage for our own downfall. One of the biggest challenges we face in this new era of space exploration is environmental sustainability. The same challenges that likely contributed to Mars's environmental collapse, loss of atmosphere, lack of water, and overexploitation of resources, are challenges we also face on Earth. As we look to colonize Mars, we must ask ourselves, how will we sustain life on Mars without repeating the mistakes that have brought Earth to the brink of ecological disaster? The concept of terraforming Mars, altering the Martian environment to make it more Earth-like, is one of the most exciting but controversial ideas in space exploration. It involves warming the planet, thickening its atmosphere, and potentially introducing life-supporting gases like oxygen and nitrogen. Could this be the solution to making Mars habitable for humans? Or could the process of terraforming lead to unforeseen consequences, just as the Martians may have faced when they tried to control their environment? Could the ancient Martian civilization have been the first to grapple with the idea of terraforming their planet? If they had developed technologies capable of altering the climate and atmosphere, could they have unwittingly set off a chain of events that led to their own collapse? Could they have tried to manipulate their environment, only to destroy the delicate balance that allowed life to flourish? As we consider the possibility of terraforming Mars, we must reflect on these questions and the wisdom that may be contained in Mars's ancient history. As we approach the prospect of Mars colonization, the implications of our actions will reverberate far beyond the initial excitement of exploration. The quest to unlock Mars's ancient secrets could offer humanity new insights into the fragility of civilizations, both in our solar system and across the cosmos. But as we send our first humans to Mars, we must confront the possibility that humanity's future on Mars may mirror the fate of Mars's past. The very fact that we are considering colonization of Mars suggests a longing to expand, to explore, and to secure a future beyond the confines of Earth. Yet, at what cost? What if, in our haste to conquer a new world, we inadvertently follow the same path that led to the fall of Mars's civilization? The temptation to exploit Mars's resources for the sake of progress is immense. But what happens when we push a world too far, too fast? Could our drive to settle Mars result in the same environmental collapse, resource depletion, and social instability that we see throughout history on Earth? Our desire to colonize Mars raises questions about the ethics of space colonization. Should we be spreading our footprint across the cosmos? Or should we learn from the mistakes of previous civilizations, such as the Martians, and tread more lightly in the universe? If we are to create sustainable colonies on Mars, we must consider how our actions today will affect the Martian environment in the future. The idea of terraforming Mars to make it more Earth-like may be appealing, but this process is fraught with challenges. Can we truly terraform a planet without irreversible consequences? What happens when humanity's hubris to control an entire planet leads to unintended outcomes? If Mars's ancient civilization suffered due to environmental manipulation, Can we learn from their fate and ensure that our own efforts on Mars are responsible and sustainable? One crucial aspect of our mission to Mars lies in the search for Martian artifacts, objects that could reveal secrets about the ancient Martian civilization. If the Martians were an advanced society, could their technological knowledge still be buried beneath the planet's surface? The potential to uncover ancient Martian tools, buildings, or machinery would revolutionize our understanding of the cosmos. It could provide us with insight into technologies that are far beyond our current capabilities, offering a glimpse into a civilization that existed long before us. Yet, we must ask ourselves, what will we do with this knowledge once we find it? If we come across Martian technology, would we be able to understand it? Or would we risk repeating their mistakes, applying that knowledge without fully grasping the consequences? The discovery of Martian artifacts could also force us to confront the idea that we are not alone and never have been. The realization that another civilization once thrived on Mars would profoundly alter our understanding of life in the universe. Would humanity, faced with this evidence, become more humble in its approach to colonization? Or would we rush forward, eager to claim our place in the stars at any cost? As we learn more about Mars, it's crucial that we approach this newfound knowledge with a sense of responsibility and respect for the potential history that lies hidden beneath the Martian surface. There's another, more existential question we must grapple with. As we explore Mars and uncover its secrets, are we truly rediscovering an ancient world or simply preparing to repeat the mistakes of the past? The rise and fall of civilizations is a theme that spans not just the history of Earth, but potentially the history of the entire solar system. Could the fate of Mars's ancient civilizations serve as a warning to us, reminding us that no matter how advanced we become, the forces of nature and the limits of our own existence are beyond our control? In the end, the future of Mars holds more questions than answers. Will we rediscover Mars's ancient civilization, unearthing relics that shed light on its rise and fall, or will we be so focused on our own colonization efforts that we overlook the lessons of the past, repeating the same mistakes that led to the downfall of the Martians? As humanity prepares to make its mark on Mars, we must reflect on the lessons that might await us in the ruins of a long-lost civilization, lessons that could either guide our future or doom us to repeat their fate. For now, the journey to Mars continues to unfold, and each new discovery brings us one step closer to understanding our place in the universe. Whether we are preparing to colonize a new world or rediscover an ancient one, the future of Mars is deeply intertwined with the choices we make today. As we send humans to Mars and look for signs of life and civilization, we must keep in mind the ultimate question. Are we ready to meet the echoes of the past, or are we destined to repeat them? As we come to the end of this journey through the mysteries of Mars and the potential civilizations that once called it home, we are left with more questions than answers. The story of Mars is still unfolding, its surface, its past, and its secrets waiting to be uncovered. As we venture further into space, one thing becomes abundantly clear. The mystery of Mars is not just about the search for life, but about something far more profound: our place in the cosmos. Could Mars have once hosted an advanced civilization, one whose knowledge and wisdom were lost to time? Could their rise and fall serve as a warning for us, a reminder of the fragility of civilization and the dangers of unchecked technological growth? These are questions we may never fully answer, but the search for them is what drives us forward. The lessons we could learn from the past, whether from Mars or Earth's own history, are invaluable, not just for our survival, but for our growth as a species. What if the answers are out there, waiting to be uncovered? What might we learn about ourselves by understanding the rise and fall of those who came before us, whether on Mars or on our very own planet? As we continue to explore the unknown, whether through our efforts to reach Mars or our quest for understanding life elsewhere in the universe, we must acknowledge the vastness of the questions that lie before us. The universe is a mystery, one that we are only beginning to unravel. The more we learn, the more we realize how much is still out there, how much is still to discover. And just as Mars has tantalized us with hints of its past, so too does the rest of the cosmos hold the potential for answers we have yet to even imagine. The story of Mars, whether it was a thriving world with an ancient civilization or a barren, forgotten place, teaches us something important about ourselves. It forces us to confront our own fragility and to reflect on our future. If Mars's ancient civilization did indeed exist and collapse, what does that mean for humanity's future? Are we doomed to repeat their mistakes? Or can we learn from their downfall and build a future that is more sustainable, more aware of our cosmic place? These are questions we must ask ourselves, not just as explorers of space, but as stewards of Earth. As we venture into the stars, the mysteries of Mars will continue to draw us in. But in this search, we must remember that the most important discoveries may not just be about the planetary secrets we uncover, but about the questions we ask along the way. As we ask these questions, we take another step toward understanding not just the universe, but our own humanity. And as we continue to explore, we invite you, the viewer, to join in this journey, asking the questions, seeking the answers, and pondering the mysteries that lie ahead. What questions will you ask next? Will you continue to wonder about Mars, about life beyond Earth, and about our place in the vast, mysterious universe? The journey of exploration is never truly finished. It is only just beginning.